help us track the fine print, we're joined from London by Dr. James Boyce, Assistant Professor of International Political Studies at Richmond, the American International University in London, and founder of the Resolute Group. From Austin, Texas, we're joined by Wayne Slater, author and senior political writer with the Dallas Morning News, co-author of Bush's Brain, How Karl Rove Made George W. Bush Presidential. By the phone, we're joined from Austin, Texas, again by Alex Jones, investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker, owner of Infowars.com. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. But straight to our first pick, Agence France-Presse, Obama in command on eve of U.S. vote. Barack Obama stood on the threshold of history on Monday as polls gave the Democrat a solid lead over John McCain on the last day of campaigning for the most dramatic U.S. presidential vote in a generation. But McCain, who has no room for error in the tense battle for a handful of toss-up states, vowed to confound the pollsters and wrench victory from the African-American Obama's grasp on Tuesday. The 47-year-old Democrat stressed the historic nature of his quest to be America's first black president, striking an optimistic tone as fresh polls gave him a light lead and heaped further pressure on McCain. He said, quote, "This is a defining moment in our history," Obama wrote in an article published Monday in the Wall Street Journal. "Tomorrow, I ask you to write our nation's next great chapter. If you give me your vote, we won't just win this election together. We will change this country and change the world." McCain, a 72-year-old former prisoner of war in Vietnam, was defiant. "My opponent," he said, quote, "is measuring the drapes of the White House," he said, as he wrapped up a frenzied day of campaigning with a midnight rally in Miami. "The Mac is back," he said, quote, "and we're going to win this election." And, of course, the polls give it all to Obama. A new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll put Obama ahead 51% and 43%. CNN's latest poll on Sunday had Obama with a 53 to 46% edge. Washington Post ABC News poll gave him 54% to 43%. Rasmussen said he was at 51% and McCain's 46%. So let's go straight to Texas. Wayne Slater, take a look at your crystal ball. What do you see?
Well, I think the polls really indicate it's Barack Obama's year. I just got off the plane. I spent almost a week with Barack Obama, before that a week with John McCain, and the Obama campaign is very, very confident. What we're seeing here is a remarkable, not only campaign by Barack Obama, if he happens to win tomorrow, and I think the expectations are he probably will, but we're seeing a redefinition of who votes for Democrats in America. Barack Obama is actually winning right now in some southern states, something that no one has done and no Democrat has done since 1976, when Jimmy Carter, a fellow Southerner, won. You see Barack Obama challenging in a state like North Carolina, part of the Old South, where 40% of the registered voters have already voted. Most of them are Democrats. And if Barack Obama wins there and in Virginia, as well as the other states that he's expected to pick up, it not only will be a victory for the first African-American, an historic victory, but also a rather astonishing reconfiguration of the electoral map, which shows that the South, long Republican territory, might become part Democrat territory starting tomorrow.
Reuters agrees with you. Obama leads McCain in 6 of 8 key states. Democrat Barack Obama leads Republican John McCain in 6 of 8 key battleground states one day before the U.S. election, including the big prize of Florida and Ohio, according to a series of Reuters Zogby polls released on Monday. Alex Jones, your look at your crystal ball, and do you see any surprise all these polls going Obama?
No, I don't. The incredible support that we're witnessing for Barack Obama in almost every poll, with leads of 10%, many of them, the smallest only about 5%, show that people don't like the policies of George W. Bush. The problem is, and most pundits are predicting a very short honeymoon, including his running mate, Joe Biden, for Barack Obama, because he's going to come in. He wants more defense spending. He wants more wars. He wants to go into Afghanistan and expand things. Pakistan, he's for the warrantless, Fourth Amendment destroying, wiretapping, spying on the American people. He's gotten 3 times the Wall Street money that John McCain has gotten, 4 times the Goldman Sachs. So he's going to be put in tomorrow by the public's outrage and by a media that's been giving him most of the attention, it's clear that the establishment knows they've ridden their Republican pony as far as they can. They want a new, fresh horse, Barack Obama, to give them left cover, to pacify the left so he can move in, bring in a global carbon tax, acquiesce to the banks who are literally just looting the country of not $800 billion but trillions of dollars, giving it to themselves in bonuses. Barack Obama is probably going to be elected tomorrow, but he's also going to be a huge disappointment for the American people. You have a lot of conservatives voting for him because they're so sick of George Bush, but you also have about 30% of the U.S. population saying, that they're not totally decided, that they don't like either candidate. You have Congress with an 11% approval rating. Both parties are universally hated now at higher levels than we've ever had in history. And so what's going to happen is Barack Obama is going to come into office probably, 95% chance, I would say. All the polls show that. And then people are going to see that it's a different face, different rhetoric, a better speaker than George Bush, but that the global corporate institutions that control our executive branch are really in control. And so you're going to see a major crisis here in the United States as things intensify.
All right, you covered a lot of ground. We'll be talking about that, the choices the American people have, whether or not the two are true agents for change, either Obama or McCain. No other choice. As facts speak for themselves. But the New York Times goes, Obama is up, and fans fear that jinxes it. Let's go to Dr. Boyce for his speculations. Plus, do you see any of this jinx could be nothing other than the Bradley effect? Do you see the Bradley effect simply people not voting black on Election Day despite all the polling?
Well, certainly the Bradley effect is something which the Obama campaign are greatly fearing. This idea that people could be saying one thing to the pollsters and something else to themselves in private is certainly got to be fighting away at the heart of darkness at the Obama campaign. I think, however, that as your polls have revealed, there is enough of a gap between the two candidates at this point. There should be sufficient to see Barack Obama coast to victory tomorrow. Whether it will be the landslide, which some people had forecast, I think is unlikely. We will have to wait and see exactly what the figures emerge. But I think it's telling today that we see John McCain very much on the defensive in states that he should have sawn up months ago, and Barack Obama very much on the offensive, campaigning in those states which George Bush took relatively easily in 2004. We see John McCain traveling some 3,000 miles today to try to shore up his base, whereas Barack Obama appears to be taking it relatively easy, traveling just under, by all reckoning, some 700 miles, very much to try to energize the Democrats and get them out to vote.
Wayne, well, of course, we have McCain saying Obama is perhaps measuring the drapes of the White House. Well, he should be, according to the polls. But do you see that Bradley effect, the race factor, changing all the polls come November the 4th, that is hours away?
Yeah, I think Dr. Boyd has it exactly right. If this were a close race, if in fact Barack Obama were leading in the polls in the battleground states and nationally by 1 or 2 percentage points, then I think the potential of the Bradley effect, where people, as he said, might tell a pollster that they would vote for Barack Obama, but secretly when they actually go to vote would not vote for an African American, then I think the Bradley effect might have an effect. But all indications are that even though this race is narrowing to some extent, and is expected to narrow in terms of the voter turnout, that the margin of victory by Barack Obama in the key battleground states especially, where he is expected to win by more than 2 or 3 or 4%, probably obviates the Bradley effect here. If that happens, if in fact some voters are going to not vote for him because he is black, there's no question about that. But if he's able to overcome that, it will be a rather remarkable moment in American politics. We had slavery in this country 140 years ago. That's when we abolished it. And now that we have an African American who could win the presidency of the United States, 140 years since the 15th Amendment, which allowed the former slaves to vote, is an extraordinary moment. So while few Americans may vote against Barack Obama because he is black, the indications are that there is a phenomenon here which is bigger than that, and that is likely, though I'm not going to predict absolutely, but likely to sweep him into office tomorrow.
All right, let's take a look at this C word of change. Both campaigns have been talking about change. Obama says the change we need, their change is not authentic. And, well, here is what he wrote, again, in the Wall Street Journal. This is a defining moment in our history. And then he said, tomorrow I ask you to write our nation's next great chapter. If you give me your vote, we won't just win this election together. We will change this country and change the world. Alex Jones, last time Bush said, I'll change the world after 9/11, we see the change. What change does Obama really mean, both inside the U.S. and outside?
Well, there's going to be real change, and it's the exact same change we would have seen with John McCain. These guys on the issues aren't any different. You just get some different rhetoric. And Barack Obama has openly called for 1 million-person youth corps, youth brigades out enforcing as intelligence spies. He's called for a 3 million-person environmental squads. He's called for shutting down, quote, bankrupting the coal industry.